What it do, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining me. It's another episode of the Stormcast, and I appreciate having you here. I will be honest with you, I'm not 100% certain how this episode is going to go, but I do know that the episode is going to go come rain or sun. And to be honest, it's been raining pretty hard recently. How far you guys? Were you stuck in the rain? On Tuesday, the rain fell heavily, and then we started seeing, symptoms of rain in Lagos. Things will be things. I will say, though, that all the flooding we experienced in Lagos, would it not have been nice to have kept some trees around to perhaps soak up flood water? I'm not being salty, I'm just saying that would kind of have been nice, because that's a part of the problem. When the rain begins to fall from the sky, that's when I remember that we exist in mangrove swamp territory. Mangrove forest, that is what Lagos originally is mangrove forest. But because we do like to cut down trees, we like development, everything build, every land we see build sky-story building, destroy all the green, cut it down. Who cares about ecological studies? To hell with the wildlife, to hell with them, dear. We're looking for billions. Who cares about a frog or a tadpole or a bird? Destroy all their nests. That's what's happening in Lagos. So when you see all the flooding, we have ourselves to thank for it. If you are a landlord or a property developer, please try and think a little bit about how you can minimize ecological damage, because you are going to drown all of us eventually with this. Anyways, that's my PSA for that. My week's been kind of interesting. To be honest, I recorded my last podcast not too long ago, but I'm trying to be consistent. I've also asked somebody to be my accountability partner for the podcast. So fear of receiving a message that says, have you recorded your podcast, is what has me recording my podcast right now and getting it out. So do you know what? I will be putting out the podcast on Wednesdays. And I might switch upload days, but let's say Wednesdays are the sweet spot for now. Okay. And I'm not really sure how it's being received. I know it's very small numbers still, but I'm enjoying this process. And that's all that one can do, is enjoy the process. Don't be tied to outcomes. Focus on the process, because when you fine tune that process, you have much better outcomes overall, in theory. I have ideas for a lot of this stuff. The last week has been interesting. Things that have stuck with me. I went to the 17th Headies Awards. So in Nigeria, there's the longest running music award show. It's called the Headies. It's done by Hip TV, not me saying Hip Hop TV. Wow, my age is showing. Hip TV are the conveners of the Headies, and it was the 17th edition of this event. And I got tickets, VVIP tickets. So Mans was like, let me pull up for the culture. You get me? Because that's what I used to do. I absolutely love music. I love discovering music. I love sounds. The gym for me at the moment is actually where I spend a lot of time browsing what's out, but I do very up tempo. I think that also satisfies my ADHD itch in my brain. Also, please, I've not been officially diagnosed. I've just self-diagnosed myself. So let's just roll with the punches, shall we? Let's roll with the punches. So I love it. So, Headies was happening. I can be very antisocial. I'll be honest with you. Going out requires a fair amount of effort. If I'm not being paid to be outside, generally I don't like to be outside. That's the truth. Unless it's on my time, and outside is like outside, like the beach, like the ocean, like hiking. Yeah, I'm that person. I'm that person that likes outside, all the way outside, as opposed to let's all go stand in a club and, not have a good time, but have lots of bottles in front of us and drink a lot and not actually dance, but pose and be in uncomfortable outfits and look at each other and see who's looking at us and observe who's looking at them. Yeah, no, I don't do that. If you try to invite me outside for that, I will leave in 10 minutes flat. That's my operation. And even when you don't invite me outside for that, to be honest, I'm thinking about whether I can order in Indian food and chill in my nice comfortable house, in my nice comfortable room, in my nice comfortable bed. I'm sorry, I wish I was way more exciting than that. That's just the reality. But if you buy me a plane ticket though, that's a different story. Adventure outside, let's go. I digress. Headies, what was that like? It was an experience. I will attempt to go through the good, the bad, the ugly. I'll be honest, a lot of it was just like ugly. Nigeria. Oh. it's tough when every time you think of your home country that you mostly exist and work in, you just kind of like, chai, there is God, oh, there is God. I get to the Headies, the ticket says 7 p.m. start, and no matter how many times I receive an invite for anything, when I see the start time for the invite, I generally think, oh, I should be there within an hour of that start time. Because why? Time, I do keep to time, generally speaking. I think it's important to honor time and honor time commitments. And as a broadcast girly, I respect time. So when my fellow broadcast Ike actually sent me tickets. Big shout out to Ike Osaki Odua. OG, boss man, that's my homie. He says, Fulu, come on, let's roll out. Because light radio style, baby. Light radio 95.5. Yeah. So I said, okay, let's go. Listen, he sent tickets to me. I was like, all right, boss, don't worry. I'll roll through. I'll catch you there. Ike said he was going to get there at like 7 so he could bounce at a reasonable time. In my brain, I was like, I know they said 7, but, maybe let's aim for like 8:39 maybe. Long story short, I landed that place after 9, closer to 10. Nobody had started anything yet. Actually, probably about 10 o'clock, Ike left. And I'm sorry I'm calling him out like this. I'm sure he's going to be like, Fulu, please, why are you doing this? But it's true. He left because, he's a responsible man. He have things to do the next day. But no problem. I'm like, I'm outside hanging with the hip hop crew. Let me be here for the Headies. All right. How late could they possibly start? They're probably going to start any minute now. I will say the production design was really lovely though. It was a really nice setup. It looked very pretty. I liked the sort of open market hall style outside, lots of red carpet-ish, but yellow Headies carpet for people to take pictures on. So it looked cool. All the hard stuff was dope. The stage was lit. It was giving world-class stage. I love that part. The event did not start till about 11 p.m. after 11, and you have, because whoever put together this production, I'm finding out now that I think it's a live spot. Not that anybody's paying me to say their name, but let me just give you the gist as per what to get as we're gisting. So, it looks beautiful. It's well done. So they have this pre-production video that comes up and it's giving us the rules of engagement. Don't do this. Don't walk out during intervals. And then it says something to the effect of, because, punctuality is everything here. The whole hall just bust laugh. They said, ha, 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 ha. That's a funny one. That's a good one. That was the first time I started hiding my face. I said, Chai! Oh, God. Why are they embarrassing everybody like this? And so the night rolled on. And I'll just confess now, about 1 a.m. I left. I was not having a great experience. To even get into the hall, I missed one of the most important parts. I was stood outside with my VVIP ticket, my VVIP ticket. I was stood outside at the carpet for a while because as I reached the gate, they said, yeah, that's nice that you're VVIP. Very, very important. But we don't have band for you. If you don't have band, stand to the side. I said, I'm sorry, what? Were they supposed to have sent out band with the tickets? I thought the tickets didn't get here. They say, yeah, but the band have finished. We have to print new band. I said, oh, that's interesting. Excuse me, kind sir, doorman sir, here at the door, preventing our entry. And it wasn't just me, it was a few of us. Just sort of huddled to the side. When they brush you to one side, that you are disturbing the real VIP. They are disturbing them clear to one side. And I said, all right, I'm just curious. Why is this the situation? Everyone begins to look around because clearly Fulu asked too many questions. I said, okay, so do we have a time estimate for how long it will take for these tickets to be ready? He said very soon. I said, yeah, very soon is not a time estimate, sir. Can I have a general time? Will I be waiting 10 minutes? Will I be waiting 40 minutes? How long? So I can figure out whether it's worth my standing here or not. No. Very soon. Next thing, a little bit to my right, I hear a kerfuffle. Things are happening. I was like, what's that? And I spy with my little eye something looking like the minister, I want to say Her Majesty, the very honourable minister for culture and tourism. Phenomenal woman. She does a lot of hard work. She shows up, she rocks up, and she's doing her best for us. And so in my mind, I'm like, let me just move to the side because security, they can push through. So, but I noticed they weren't really coming through, and I thought, are they interviewing her outside? But red carpet's the other way, but no wahala. Anyways, after a few minutes, her security pushes through and says, "You have to make way. Let the minister through, Claire." And literally said it. And the minister, she looked so concerned because they were squeezing the road. People did not want to clear the road for her. Bouncer did not come and clear road for the minister. Her security had to force their way through and literally say, "Honorable, you do not need a pass to get in." Guy, at the entrance of the event, what manner of thinking makes from bouncer to door personal to tag holder personal think it is okay to keep a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria outside for up to a minute safe waiting to enter because you don't have a tag? Like, are we joking? Yeah. So at that point, I was like, well, if our honorable can be outside, who am I? Let me just respect myself and be quiet. But I was fully quiet. No, she was not quiet. I had to make a snide remark. And I said, well, this is a rather poor experience, isn't it? And immediately the rabble rousers around me say, yes, what's this? Why are we outside? And the doorman looked like he wanted to punch me in the throat, but he didn't know who I was, so he couldn't assault me because he's like, this one that's speaking with plenty for now. I don't even know why she's speaking with so much authority. Why is she here? They eventually bounced us to the next stand, and those bands eventually came out. Maybe I waited 15 minutes. Yeah, something like that. It was kind of awkward, but eventually it was sorted. So got in, show starts late. Information is sketchy all through the show because Nancy Isime, gorgeous human being, gorgeous host, such a consummate professional, comes out and I'm like, mwah, Nancy, you look delicious, delectable, composure, everything there, and is doing a fantastic job, with her teleprompting and getting into the thing. But we now very quickly realized that a lot of the information that was on the teleprompter for our host to read out and make sure that the TV production end was great was incorrect because the people that were supposed to be giving the award, is not them. Mr. Smith reached up on stage and said he does not know why he's there. I said, wow, chai. It was awkward, and after enough of those cringy moments, I left, only for me to discover later through gisting with people today, just kind of catching up on the event, that even plaque was not enough. You are awarding people, you don't have the award this thing. It's awkward, sir. Oh, Headies. It's not Koda. While I really have to say I applaud Hip TV for carrying on this award story, not the story, but for carrying on this award for so long. 17 years is not a joke, actually longer than 17 years, but for carrying on for that long, it's not a joke. It's phenomenal. I'm like, well done, you. However, there does come a point at which you're continuing to show up is staining legacy, and it was staining and stinky. Like, no, don't do that, because what are we saying, that after like close to 2 decades of doing this stuff, it cannot get any better? Don't say Nigerians cannot host awards. We see AMVCAs. I mean, it's not perfect, but guess what? That time they said they're gonna start it. The TV is gonna be playing there. You cannot tell your audience for a live television show that's supposed to start at 7 p.m. and explain to them why it's starting at 11. There's just dead air in between announcing one award to the next. 5 minutes, empty stage. We don't know what's happening. You have your host coming out to call presenters that are nowhere in sight, nowhere to be found. You don't have holding area. You do not hold them by the leg to say to me this. You do not realize. That was sad. And what happened at the Headies was symptomatic of what we see across Nigeria in different ways. It's actually symptomatic of the whole country. It's one thing to have a system. It's another thing to make sure that system is functioning well. It's another thing to make sure you are putting people in place and allowing them to function within that capacity. It's another thing to continue pouring resources back into the business that you have built so that business can continue to function independently. See, before I go and misspeak, I'm doing my best not to point fingers, but it was disappointing and it made me quite sad. And I spoke to someone who said, why are you sad? Don't be sad. It's good. Let these things happen because it's important for us to learn our lessons. And I just wonder, are we going to learn lessons from that? No, it was a poor showing, especially for a show that was returning back to base. That was the tagline. And one would have hoped, one would have expected, one dreamed that it would be this lovely triumphant return, even though it was just like, how these people leave us serious? Energy was low with the audience at the beginning. I'm sure there were great highlights, there were great moments. I'm sure we'll be seeing that all over social media. I just can't even be bothered. I've cancelled it from my brain, and it is painful that that's where I'm at. It is painful because what we're doing is we're conditioning ourselves to believe that we cannot do things excellent, and it is not the truth. That is absolutely not the truth. So yeah, I just had to, that was in my spirit to get off my chest. I've got that off my chest. I mean, if you felt different or you had experiences about that, let me know. If you were able to catch that, please catch it. But I see it in so many facets, in so many different ways. How many times do we see businesses where, because you have a business, we have this big oga, big owner mentality, we like CEO titles, things like that. And I'm not saying with regards to the Headies specifically now, and I'm generalizing across Nigeria, specifically in Nigeria, where you start a business and we see you getting richer and richer, but your business getting poorer and poorer till it just stops. How often do we service the business? And I want us all to think about that, reflections for ourselves. The things that we say are important, the work that we start, the businesses we start. Are we actively pouring back into the business? Are we actively pouring back into the service that we are providing to community, to other people? Are we making sure that we're providing the best quality service? Because honestly, if you're not, just get the fuck, bro. Don't be a principled person across the board, and even outside of principle, just do the thing you're supposed to do now. It's not nice. It's not nice. I see it a lot. I see it, I think in when you start breaking down some of the reasons that streaming companies in Nigeria, the streaming companies being Netflix and co, they change the model for how they work in Nigeria, because from what I gather from news sources, from small gist in back corners, it just wasn't making sense. So they said, let's go back and re-strategize. And part of why it wasn't making sense is because production budgets are not making sense. First of all, they're very small production budgets when you consider what they spend elsewhere. But are you going to give a country that does not make you a lot of money to make anything? No. And even the money you are giving to the country, or you are giving to the producers, there is mismanagement of funds. There is personal enrichment. There is resort building. It's a bit dodgy, I've got to say, because why are you building resorts? Why? What are these other things that have almost nothing to do with the film industry? Why are we hearing rumors of people not being paid their worth? Why is that happening? It's awkward for everybody, and beyond awkward, it damages the industry long term. It's starving people. It's a problem. So it's I came here today to just cast people, but that was what was in my spirit to share. And it's important that we look at it honestly. We look at how we contribute to the nonsense that we see outside, and we take active steps to just be better. You should wake up every day wanting to do better. Just, in general, do that. We for how long can we continue to just skate by mediocre? And not even mediocre, we can't help it, we're doing our best, and where our best is mediocre. No, you're not doing your best. You're not even interested in doing your best. You're trying to do the shortest cut. Let's all have better pass. Let's shortcut everything. What's the fastest? Why spend time putting in effort when you can spend no time putting in no effort? Bruh, if I continue in this path, let me not get heated. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share in general. Other things I was kind of musing on, which are also kind of cool. So I was thinking very much about relationships and not just dating. People just like dating gist. I don't have any extra dating gist for you, so let that go. But interactions with people of any sort, it's really important to build your community. It's really important to continue developing connections and networks, because I know people say your network is your net worth, but sometimes we forget how real that is. And develop those networks even when you don't like the people. That was a little pearl of wisdom, a little nugget of wisdom that was dropped into my head today. And again, on some level, I know that. On some level, I know that even when you don't like someone, you have to think about the long-term benefits of being cordial and not scattering your relationship with people. Don't burn the bridge unless it needs to be burned. We live in a society and a time where everybody's like, this is my boundary. If it can't, to hell with you. If you cannot do this, that's right, cut him off. Blocked. Everybody blocked. May you not block your blessing in Jesus' name. You cannot just be recklessly blocking. Are you Bill Gates? Do you think Bill Gates is blocking people recklessly? I mean, to be fair, at this point, he has blockers for him. But like, guy, chill. You can't be saying you're hustling and you're grinding and you're trying to get to a certain level and you're blocking business. Nah. Unless that business is after your life. And even then, you have to make sure, especially if you're already in business with certain people, you're like, has my money come through yet? If your money hasn't come through yet, you make nice. You make nice. You protect your personal interests. And then when you reach the fronts, it's a time where, okay, you have no real need for them, or it's just become so toxic, but you've extracted the value you sought to extract in the first place. Then you can apply the block. But don't just wake up and be like, oh no, it doesn't suit me, does it? Your feelings are fickle, don't matter sometimes. Like, they're valid. It's not that your feelings are not valid. They're valid, but never forget the feelings are fickle. This too will pass. So think instead about your goal. Think instead about your objective. Think instead about what you truly want out of the situation. And this is also me just kind of sharing my thought process as a lawyer. It's not advice. I don't give legal advice over the podcast airwaves, but it is a thought process that is important. You have to really actively consider what you want out of any interaction, out of any situation, platonic, sexual, doesn't matter. Write it down, make it plain. What do you want? Business interactions, what do you want? People also find it easier to do business with people that they're friends with and that they like. So it's worth networking just for that. It's worth seeking interactions that are, on the one hand, fulfilling for you in whatever capacity that might come, but on the other hand, also beneficial. It's okay to adopt a bit of a capitalist mindset. I need to cultivate it this year. I keep telling people I'm going to keep declaring it, like, I'm cultivating cunning and wickedness in 2025. It's a real goal. Don't laugh. I'm cultivating it because I'm a very free spirit. And it means that I can be very naive. It means I can be very welcoming. I do have very good personal boundaries. But when it comes to business, I have to be a little bit more capitalistic in nature, honestly. And some of you might need that as well. So I'm sharing this because this word is not just for me, or for you. It's for me, and not just for me, also for you. Hopefully some of this I'm sharing is clicking somewhere in your brain. But make the effort. Like, be dedicated to that is important. You have to think that way. You have to think strategically. You have to think a little Machiavellian. You have to create those opportunities for yourself, because I don't like money for the sake of money. I've never really been driven by money. But I like money for what money does as a resource. It's freedom. It's opportunity. It's leverage. It's a form of power. And that is useful. And if there's one thing that I do like a lot is my freedom. If there's one thing I like is choices. And money gives you choices. So if you're anything like me and you're like, oh, money isn't everything, my reward is in heaven. Now you really should try to make sure your reward is here too. That's the truth. I'm going to say that. You should really try to make sure your reward is here too. Because when people are telling you don't need anything on this earth, your reward is in heaven. I mean, have a look at their bank account. Take a look at their shoes. Take a look at their clothes. 9 times out of 10, those people have some kind of backing somewhere, especially when they're people of power. Especially when they're people of power. And they're here telling you that you should just wait till the other side. Be humble. Yeah, be humble, but think. Develop critical thinking. Develop a little edge. Don't be an evil person. I do not say be evil, but small wickedness. A pinch, a little salt bay of wickedness, a little sprinkling of cunning is important. That's my message for the day. that's it. I think I'm going to stop the podcast right here, guys. You know what to do. If you're listening on YouTube, please make sure that you like, you subscribe, you follow. It's really important. It helps to build ratings. It also informs me what you like, what you don't like, what you're interested in. And I appreciate that. If you're listening on Spotify, don't just hit the follow, hit the download button, because that helps my ratings go all the way up. And it means that I will continue providing this to you. Also, to be fair, I was also advised today by, somebody whose opinion is worth considering, is weighty. It was a weighty opinion, and so I'm weighing it quite heavily to say, listen, put my face up on the podcast. So if you want to see my face up on the podcast, just type in face. That's good. And make sure you share this with your friends if you find it interesting. If there's some stuff you just want to giggle at, share this, like this, follow, comment. And that's it for the podcast today. I'm Folu Storms. It's been a blast, and I will see you next time, or speak to you next time. Okay, bye bye now.